The air.
Does it?
Do it live.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
says live. Shit. I don't know
You
if it's
didn't
up
link
yet
it.
though.
You didn't link anything though. Where do you go live in? Like your Discord?
Oh man, it's live. We're live.
I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
There's
we're
nothing
live.
linked on my on Twitter. I mean.
Well, I didn't tag you in the live thing, but we're like live.
Okay. Cool,
I didn't
cool.
tag you. We're live. We've been live for like probably like 30 seconds, just bullshitting. But what's up, everybody? Glad y'all tapped in. It is Friday, September 11th. Just a very powerful day. You know, what happened 20 years ago, 20th anniversary. So before we just get started to talk football, shout out to all the, God, firefighters, service members, and men and women from that day that I'll never forget. You know what I'm saying? Just thoughts and prayers to all the families, survivors of 9/11, and everybody. Just my mom spent 32 years in the military, so I have the utmost respect for all of our service members, men, women, veterans, firefighters, police officers, everybody, man. So just wanted to say that on this historic and special day, 20 years ago. Just wow, seems like just yesterday, man. But I'm joined by two of my guys, man. Two of my boys, two trusted college football analysts, college football evaluators. On my right, Jared Wackerly, Dynasty Nerds. I mean, you're co-owner of Dynasty Nerds, right? I was gonna say co-founder, but you're not a founder, but you do
No, I'm
own
not a
Dynasty.
founder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
co.
they made me a partner, made me a part of
That's
the
dope.
ownership team.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
about a year ago. So, yep, everything's
That's
going
dope.
great. Appreciate you finally having me on. Like we talked about this so many times of getting on together. It's
Yeah.
funny that it's taken so long, but no, appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to go through week 2 here. A lot of good performances, some duds, a lot of not a lot of big games this week.
Yeah. Well, shout out to J Wack, man. Make sure you tap into Dynasty Nerds, all the dope stuff that they're doing. That GM tool, I'm telling you right now, like literally best in the game. Best in the game. So make sure you fuck
Appreciate
with
it.
Dynasty Nerds straight up. And then I got my man to my left, Ben Eby. Y'all know who he is. He's on the Destination Devi team. Elite Seekers. Ben, how you doing this evening, brother?
What's up, man? Another day of college football and got some NFL to
Dude, Ben, you're choppy, brother. You're choppy. J Wack, is he coming through for you?
Nah, I heard he was about to talk about how it's Christmas night or the night before Christmas. Got
Yeah,
NFL tomorrow.
NFL tomorrow. Brandon said Evie missed out on the AirPod memo. I don't know what Evie is doing, but J Wack, man, this show, man, I'm glad to get you on, man. As somebody that I just respect in the game, just a former athlete, former college quarterback, so I really value your opinions and trust what you see. So on this show, man, we just like to get on here and just talk about just what we saw this weekend, instant reactions. Um, I mean, where do you want to start, bro? I mean, I guess we could
Let's start with the
start.
Buckeyes game, man.
Yeah, let's start with Ohio State. What are your
I'm a
thoughts,
big
man? That's your team, man.
It's my team. Big Buckeye fan, born and raised Buckeye fan, and I don't know. It was just real deflating to see the team come out that way today. As far as prospects go, I mean Garrett Wilson tore it up again. It was great to see Jackson Smith and Jigba put together a nice game. Lave's Lave. Those dudes they're all studs. So I
Yeah,
mean nothing changed there. We knew who they are, but it was definitely nice to see Jackson come through with a nice game. C.J. Stroud, crazy numbers today, crazy numbers. But when it mattered most, he didn't really rise to the occasion, and I'm worried about that Ewers situation. So, um, you know,
so
he
that's my thing, bro. Like he almost threw for 500 yards, right? He almost threw for
yeah,
500 yards. USC down to Stanford. Jeez. Is it really? Is it? See, my thing is it really on Stroud? It seems like, I mean, throwing for that much. And I know the pass at the end was not the best, but the defense, man, like I feel like Stroud's taking a lot of heat, man, and I really believe that a part of the reason why he's taking so much heat is the fact that we want to see Quinn Ewers, we want to see Kyle McCord. So any little, like any kind of misstep, any bad throw, We're like, just get him out of there. Let's see the young guys. I mean, was he that bad? Because I mean, it seemed like he had his team in position to win, man.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't that bad. I think it's a bit of an overreaction, especially being a Buckeyes fan, losing a big game like that. I'm a little biased in that opinion. At a place like Ohio State, there's not time to be groomed and you know allow somebody to get better. Like you're at Ohio State, you better come in, you better be ready to go because there's someone behind you that's ready to go or could be ready to go and that could take your spot in a minute, like yours is. So during the game, I think there were a lot of times where the balls were off target, and thankfully he has such a good receiving core that they were able to make up for that. He was late a lot, but he was able to get the ball there. But there were some drops too, so it's not all on Stroud. The defense was terrible. Oregon was able to do whatever they wanted all game. So
Yeah.
um,
So let's talk prospects because a
okay,
player who I wasn't like super high on last year that I'm a lot more bullish on this year is Chris Olave. And he had 12 for 126, man. I like him. I think he's a good receiver. I'm trying to figure out like who is he at the next level? Like what is
yeah,
Chris Olave at the NFL? Like part of me is like, is he Emmanuel Sanders? Is that a bad comp? Is he better than like what? I look at Garrett Wilson and I can see a top 12 dynasty wide receiver when I look at Garrett Wilson. When I look at
yeah,
I see a number one. When I look at Chris Olave, I don't even know if he's the number one on Ohio State. Like he may be the number one depth chart wise guy, but what is Chris Olave at the next level? And I know you have not started your nerd score, which is dope. I know you haven't done all your film evaluations, but you've seen a lot of these dudes. Like
yeah, man. Watch.
is he Garrett Wilson? Is he David Bell? Is he Traylon Burks? Is he that level of prospect? Like I need a different opinion from my own.
I feel like you and I are kind of in the same boat because I'm kind of slow to come to this first round pick with Olave. A lot of people have him pegged as his first rounder, but he's a little undersized, right? And that worries me. I know a lot of people compare him kind of to Devontae Smith, but he's not Devontae Smith. He doesn't have that length. He's just not the same pedigree type of player. Um, Olave, no, he's not a one at the next level, and I agree with you there. Um, I don't know who my comp is for him because he's got the speed. He's so smooth. I could see him being like a guy that stretches the field at the next level. One of those
Yeah.
guys that's better for your NFL team rather than your fantasy team. So in fantasy, those guys aren't super valuable for us. So I
Yeah.
agree with you with Garrett Wilson. A comp I have for Garrett Wilson is Keenan Allen. That's who he reminds me
Mm.
of.
Oh, that's a that's a really good one, man. I like that. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he literally played 5 minutes from where I live, Rockwall High School here in Texas. So I've
I
actually
remember
got.
us talking about him last year, and
Do
you
you
were
remember
saying
that
that.
story I told you about him where I saw him at Walmart and like, I'm not gonna repeat that story here, but I saw him at Walmart with a with some people picking up something for the late night a couple of years ago. But he's a dope receiver. I don't know where I'm at with Olave. Like right now, I have him as a top three receiver in the
Yeah,
class. I do have him as a top three receiver because I do think he's going to get the draft capital. And ultimately, if even a player like Jalen Rager, who like busted in year one, he's still going to get opportunities because he was a first round pick. So if Olave's picked in the first round, I think he's going to have opportunities. But I just don't see high end wide receiver at the next level. Like when I look at Garrett Wilson, I see a high end wide receiver. I see the potential for that. I don't really see that with Olave. And what's crazy about this game, man, I'm like looking at the stat line from Oregon. Their leading receiver had 3 receptions, 34 yards, and they won the game. And Ohio State
yeah,
had 3 receivers go over 7 receptions. All of them went over 115 yards. And that's just, to me, it's not a CJ Stroud problem. Like, and I know you played quarterback, so you probably pick up on things that a lot of people don't. But I'm not putting this on Stroud. Even that last throw was horrendous. Like, it was just a bad throw, bad decision all the way around. But real, you know, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I'm not
He's
gonna put
just
that on Stroud.
He's just, I mean, he's young. He's young. And like, I mean, I said that earlier, Ohio State, we need you to be ready now because we're playing for a national title, right? And one
Yeah.
loss, it almost knocks you out of the thing, but they're not out of it yet. They could run the table. Oregon could run the table, and they could still make it in there. But with Stroud, there was just times where he was a little indecisive. Times where I thought he should have taken off with the football rather than just holding on to it and taking a sack. So there's a learning curve, and he'll adapt. I think he's
Yeah.
got the talent. He's got the arm talent. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk about real quick. Let's just go to Bama, and they played Mercer, so there was no really thought that they
Yeah,
were going to lose. But the big thing that I want to talk about with you is this 2023 quarterback class, and I was on record like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, DJU QB1 in college, like he's quarterback one. He's going to be the first overall pick in 2023. Dude, I'm not even trying to be prisoner of the moment. I don't even know if he's better than Michael Pratt from Tulane. Like I'm not trying to be hot takey. Like I don't even know if he's better than Michael Pratt. And
I didn't. So I didn't tune into the games today for Clemson and Alabama,
he
but
looked bad. He looks bad. And I know you and I kind of talked about this. We talk all the damn time for people who don't know. And
yeah,
about adjusting rankings. Right now is it too early to adjust? I don't care. I'll adjust the rankings whenever the hell I feel like it. Like when I see information happening, like I'm going to adjust. And what I'm seeing out of DJ Uyonglele is not a top pick. Like I don't think he's better than Bryce Young. I don't. And
no,
I don't even think. I think the gap between DJU and Bryce Young is a lot bigger than the gap between DJU and Michael Pratt for me, who's QB3 in the 2023 class right now. I just listen. Just your overall thoughts on Bryce Young versus DJU. Where are you at?
I mean Bryce Young has come out the gates hot this year. I watched the game back last week a couple times, and dude, he's just in control of the offense. He's coming up to the line, he's making checks, he's checking the front, he's adjusting the protection and changing the plays and stuff like that. And then he knows when to take off and run, gets down, doesn't take the big hit. Every throw was just on point, accurate, on time. He just looks comfortable in the offense. When you watch DJU, it's like the complete opposite. He's just real indecisive, doesn't really look like he knows where he wants to go with the football. Not sure if he should take off and run, get a 5 yards. It's just like night and day when you watch these two guys so far this year. DJ's young. Everyone sees this 6'5", huge quarterback with arm talent, talent out the world. Um, but right now, he's not better than Alabama's quarterback. So
Yeah.
I don't stick to like an arbitrary rule. Like after 1 week, you can't move your rankings. Like I'm gonna move my rankings from what I see on the field, and from what I see on the field, Bryce Young's easily QB1 right now in that class. Easily, it's not even
So
close.
so tell me, as a former quarterback, man, you go back to his 2 game sample size last year. I'm at 342 and 2 versus Boston College. And then he hits Notre Dame for 439, which I
Yeah.
believe was the most yards that they gave up in 2020 for a quarterback. Like how does this happen in a year? How does he go from looking like the second coming of what I said was like a better version of Dante Culpepper to he barely had 180 yards passing today. And I know they didn't need him
Yeah.
to do a ton, but he still didn't look good versus fucking South Carolina State. Like, how does this? Is it mental? Is it the fact that it was? It's a different. My thing is, there's a difference between being the guy and filling in for a guy and being the guy. Is it like how does this happen, man? As somebody who played that position in college.
I mean, football's played with 10 other people on the field, right? It's not all on the quarterback. So there a lot has changed at Clemson, from his weapons, running backs, everything. Up front, they haven't been as good. They played Georgia last week, so obviously that's his toughest test so far within his small sample size. So um, I mean, a lot happens. The offense obviously didn't change. It's just the weapons around him. Maybe he's not as comfortable. People aren't getting open as much. So I think we need to cut him a little slack. But as far as like changing the rankings of who's QB1 in that class, I'm not hesitant on doing that at all.
Ben, where are you at with where are you at, man, with Bryce and DJU?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about that last week, and it's definitely the same. So, as a prospect, it was definitely Bryce Young for me. I just like the ceiling with, what he's able to do with escapability and just being a total playmaker. We know what type of guys Alabama was bringing in around him. But, probably along with a lot of other people that may have had Bryce Young as the guy coming out, as soon as Mac Jones won that job, I did look at it a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, I didn't see that coming from Mac Jones. I knew what I saw from Bryce Young. I knew he was kind of I would say, not as polished. Mac Jones is going to probably be the more consistent guy. But I was like, well, at some point, Bryce Young's going to get on the field. And then Mac just ran away with the job. We know what Mac did. We know what Mac's doing now, what he did with Cam Newton in the NFL. So then seeing Bryce Young come out week 1 and just do all the things that he did, I'm like, gosh, what was I thinking? Like, why wasn't I just patient? And it was a great reminder to be patient with your guys, especially when you're talking about high school recruits transitioning to college, especially the quarterback position, because it takes time to develop. And I do think sitting for that year, it's going to be huge for his long term. So I think that, just learning from Mac, a different type of guy, is really going to help him. And just getting comfortable under Saban's system. So DJU just doesn't look good right now, man. I am a little worried.
I don't think you should fault yourself for moving DJU to QB1 because we actually saw something from him last year, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Everyone moved him to QB1 pretty much, right? So I don't think you should fault yourself at all on that. It's tough when somebody sits to not move someone else up. So
what about the QB1 for most people, Spencer Rattler? And I said this last week, like, look, all of these dudes played teams that were like very much inferior, right? So literally the crazy thing is every quarterback besides DJU went off today. Like Sam Howell, 350 yards, 100 rushing yards, 5 TDs. Spencer Rattler, 5 touchdowns. Desmond Ridder goes off.
Corral
went off. DJU is like the only one who didn't do anything, and Will Levis as well. I tweeted about him, and I think I do think Levis is going to be a top 15 pick.
He played a good game though. I watched that game. He played a pretty good game.
He played a good game. Stat line, they didn't need him, right? Chris Rodriguez went berserk, so they just kind of ran the ball. But Rattler went off. That's what these guys are supposed to do, and this isn't. Y'all could just jump in and interrupt me, but I watched none of the Oklahoma game. So if any of y'all actually watched that game, like, tell me how he looked besides the stat line.
No, I didn't get that game, so I don't have anything to add. I saw the stat line. It's expected against an opponent like that. So I think Rattler probably looked like Rattler, right? Like he was back there slinging the rock, as he always does, gunslinger, hitting his guys. What do you have, 5 touchdowns?
5 touchdowns, but nobody really went off. No receiver went over 65 yards. Eric Gray
had a nice game, right?
He had 74 yards. He had 74 yards. He had the running back class. This entire 2022 class, y'all. Like, I just don't think there's any consensus anywhere at any position. Like, none. You talk to 10 different people, they're going to tell you 10 different quarterbacks are the top quarterbacks. Some people tell you all the running backs suck. Some people tell you it's Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller. Then you hear Kyron Williams. Kevin Harris.
Charbonnet's coming.
Listen, Kevin Harris is dropping for me.
Bro, so first game back today, he had like 6 carries or something. So he practiced this week. First game back, 6 carries.
He broke his fucking back, man. Like, he had a broke back. I'm concerned. I don't know if there should be long-term concern, but anytime it's like back injuries with the bruising back, and then they've got another running back that looks pretty damn good as well. To me, the best looking running back for the 2022 NFL draft class right now is Kenneth Walker. Like, that's if you're just talking about who looks the best, it's Kenneth Walker, and then it's Zach Charbonnet. Where y'all at with these? Like, I don't even want to die. Like, let me just blanket statement. All the quarterbacks look good. There will be no movement in my quarter. I lied. There was a little bit of movement because I did bump Will Levis up in my personal rankings a little bit. But other than that, I want to see how. I think Levis is going to be. Levis is
He had a
legit,
good game
right?
today, man, against Missouri. Yeah, I mean, he didn't throw the ball that too much, but he's making good decisions. Him and Wendell Robinson have a great connection going on right now. But
All right,
they just beat a nice, good opponent. Yeah,
so should Cincinnati QB Ritter get more hype? This is actually a really good question by Maddox. And then Eddie has something for you, Ben, that says, "Is it Sam Heward time?" So let's talk about Ritter real quick. Should Ritter be bumped up a little bit more? Should we be giving Desmond Ridder a little more hype than we are?
I
I
think
think so.
so.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look what Cincinnati's doing. He's like he could be getting first round draft capital. So I think we got to think about that. Ray, you and I just had a conversation on the phone this week. Just like if a quarterback gets first round draft capital, they need to get put into a bucket with every other quarterback because first round draft capital is all we want, right? Because they're going to get the opportunity. So from there, we decide, who we want the most from a fantasy standpoint. So Matt Corral, dude, Desmond Ridder from a fantasy perspective. I heard a comp. I forget the guy's name. He does the Shrine Bowl. He runs the Shrine Bowl. He compared him to Colin Kaepernick. I thought that was a pretty good comparison for Ridder. So I mean, he's going to give you that rushing floor. His deep down the field accuracy looks to be improved. So I think he should definitely be getting more hype.
Ben, you agreed?
I agree. I think we always like to forget about the non-power conference guys, and if he continues to show this consistency and they keep winning, I don't see how you can't. If NFL teams are looking at him as a potential first rounder, I don't see how we can't be doing the same thing.
All right. And that's the dude. This is in Jared. J-Wack, we talked about this a little bit, bro. It's just crazy because I think there's a real possibility that maybe the QB1 drafted in the NFL draft is like the fifth most viable fantasy option. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But I also say this, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, but we put a ton of stock into quarterbacks that can run, right? Like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. And I feel like we just diminished the dudes that can sling it. And on Thursday, we essentially saw two pocket passers that are probably both going to end up top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy scoring this week. Like, J-Wack, I've always told you, at the end of the day, bro, you got to be able to sling the ball. Like, you have to be able to throw accurate passes. And in 6 point per passing league 6 points per passing touchdown leagues, if you don't run, but you can throw for 3 or 4 fucking touchdowns a game, like that's going to matter whether you're running around for 100 yards or not. Like I think the rushing quarterback gives you like a safer floor, right? Like if Jalen Hurts goes out there and stinks it up throwing, he can run for 120 and 2 touchdowns and save the day. But I ask you, like, how sustainable is that from an NFL standpoint? Like, how long will coaches be like, dude, you can't throw? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about your Konami code. You can't throw. And if you can't throw, you're not going to have a job. Like, look at all the quarterbacks that we've seen put up good fantasy numbers and they didn't have jobs. Look at Jameis Winston. Turnover prone, right? Great for fantasy 2 years ago. I mean, he was like you wanted Winston. But I just think that pocket passers or whatever you want to call them, and dude, I wanted y'all both on because I wanted to say this. Like, I wanted to tweet it, but I know I couldn't articulate it in words as well as I can verbally. But I was watching Alabama Mercer, and they were talking about the RPO. And a lot of people who are not understand the game, when they think RPO, they think that it's a run-pass option, and they think, okay, if they don't hand it off, then the quarterback pulls it and runs. Where they were saying the way that Alabama teaches it and Bryce Young does it, it's the run pass, but the pass is quick, right? So if you don't hand to the running back, the key is to pull back, find your window, and deliver the ball quickly and accurately. It's not pull in fucking speed option. There's a big difference between the triple option and an RPO. And that's why, like, if you look at Mac Jones and you really go back to Alabama, he did a ton of RPO stuff with Najee Harris. And very rarely did he pull it down to run it. But you don't have to be a dual threat quarterback to effectively run what now is being adopted as one of the most popular offenses in the NFL, which is an RPO. Like, in my opinion, I think we put a ton of stock into, like, I'm just telling everybody, I think there's a ton of risk in players like Malik Willis. Like, I see the upside, but dude, the level of competition at Liberty is it's just different, man. And I
Yeah.
just think it's a ton of risk to be investing high end draft capital on those type of quarterbacks, man. I feel safer with the dude that I know at the end of the day he can stand there and deliver the ball accurately, even if he's not going to give me 800 rushing yards in a fantasy season, man.
I think that's like you said the word safer, and I think that's what it is. I feel like it is a lot safer move, and I think a lot of it is going to depend on what scheme they end up in, in the NFL. So what are they showing us? I totally agree. Like those quick passes. If you watch kind of Russell Wilson, like we're talking about Bryce Young, I think there's a little bit to his game from the escapability standpoint. But if you watch like how Russ has evolved, that RPO, it still happens. He's just making those quick passes. He's not running near as much as he used to because they know that's not part of his game. But that quick pass piece is crazy. So it is definitely something that man, I think that
There it
it's
is right there
safer
on the
to go with
screen.
those guys. Yeah,
Dude,
I think
on the
I think it's
screen,
safer.
read option versus RPO. It's not the same, man. It's not.
Your read's different.
It. Go
Read
ahead,
option, you're
quarterback.
reading the DN. Read option, you're reading the DN. Run pass option, most of the time you're reading the linebacker, sometimes the safety that's hanging up over top right there in the window that you want to throw in. So it's just it's a different concept, but
Where y'all at with the running
yeah.
backs, man? Where y'all at with the running backs? I mean, we spend a ton of time on the QBs, but where y'all at with Brees Hall? Didn't look good today. I watched that game. He didn't look good. Texas A&M doesn't look good at all. Period. I mean, they lost their quarterback, but where y'all at with these running backs?
I don't
Brees
see a
is in
first
tough situation.
or a second round running back right now, to be honest.
Like you're talking NFL
And-
draft.
Yeah, right. I mean, second round draft capital, that's really good these days for a running back, right? I don't see one right now. I mean, I think Brees Hall, I think Brees Hall is really good. I just think he's a little overrated amongst the Twitter space that we live in, the echo chambers that we live in. I think he's just a little overrated from what everyone is saying for him. I got Isaiah Spiller as my RB1. Ray, I know you're there with me on that. I think Spiller has some things to work on, but what I like with Spiller is every single year we've seen him improve. And this year he looks like he dropped 10 pounds, I think. So I like Spiller a lot. I like his footwork. I like his size. He's able to catch the football. He can run in between the tackles. He can make people miss. He can do a lot of different things. And Charbonnet, dude, he's climbing up there. We all loved him 2 years ago. Last year, had some injury issues. Michigan didn't play him too much. What do you have, like 19 carries on the year or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now he's in UCLA. UCLA's on a tear. They had the week off this week, but we talked a lot this week on Charbonnet. Ray, you want to give your comp?
It's not a comp, okay? I just said when I see him run, because maybe it's the way he holds the ball, maybe it's the number 24, but he's got this one cut, explosive, and he's very fast. Like to be 220, 6 foot, 6'1", 220, like his running style reminds me of Nick Chubb. He's not on the same planet as Nick Chubb as the prospect, but when I see what Charbonnet does in the backfield, the one cut, foot in the ground, go, the ability to break the tackles, his running style reminds me of Nick Chubb. That's not my comp for him yet. When I was watching that game, especially versus LSU, I was like, holy shit, there's Nick Chubb right there. Like I'm seeing Nick Chubb of college. But I'm with you. I think Brees Hall is a little overrated, and I have moved him down to RB2 in the class months ago.
I have him as RB2. I'm not like saying he's way
RB2.
overrated.
I've got him at RB2, and I've got Charbonnet at RB3 right now. Isaiah Spiller, I mean, today he only had 8 carries, 20 yards, but 6 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. And he's shown that ability to catch the ball. I think third round, late second, third round is probably where those dudes get drafted, man. Like, I think we might see a slew of those guys come off of the board, like round 3. We might see Charbonnet. Here's a crazy thing. I think there's a better chance that Anais Smith gets drafted ahead of Isaiah Spiller because of just his skill set, right? That gadgety wide receiver running back hybrid.
He's good.
like in Ben, I want you to chime in here. For me personally, and I know somebody asked about a tight end and talking about Jalen Weidermeyer. I mean, he's to me, him, Isaiah Likely. Those are the dudes that I really
Timeout.
like.
Grant Calcaterra, bro. He
Grant
looked great
Calcaterra.
last week.
Grant
He had another
Calcaterra.
touchdown this week.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
he I didn't one like 2 years ago, right? In
He
this
was my
class.
tight end one. Yeah, he was my
He
dude.
looks good. He looks good.
I'll say
K,
just go ahead. Who?
K. Dotton. He might end up
Man, get
leading
the hell
Washington
outta
receiving.
here. Yeah,
Hey, I'm telling you, K. Dotton can play. He might be their only damn receiver on that whole garbage
he
team.
ain't no tight end. So my overall thoughts on the 2022 class, man. If there was any position that I'd want, it would be the wide receivers. And when I say wide receivers, it's really like I want Garrett Wilson, I want Treylon Burks, I want some David Bell. Garrett Wilson, I'll take him. I mean, Chris Olave, I'll take him. I want Matt Corral, I guess. I just
You talking about, I thought you
what'd
were
you
talking
say?
about wide receivers. I
Well,
thought you were talking about wide receivers.
now I'm just talking players in general. Like this J Wag.
Drake London, you like London, right?
I like I like Drizzy Drake. My thing
Yeah.
is I think what's so different about this class is the past 2 years we knew Justin Fields was going to go high. We knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be a dude. We knew Tua. We knew Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift and we knew those guys like years in advance. There's like who's the best player in college football right now? Like who's the best player in college football right now? Like who fantasy wise? Like
Corral.
outside of 2023, you know? Like
Yeah. Corral, Bijan.
It's just we don't have, in my opinion, the elite fantasy guys today. Like we don't know who they are today. Like I know a lot of people keep saying Justin Ross. I'm not seeing it. Like he's not a top. I don't even have Justin Ross inside my top 10 wide receivers. Shoot me. He's not a top 10 wide receiver for me right now. I don't. It is what it is. Blake Corum is going off right now. 21 for 171 and 3.
Yes.
I like Blake Corum. He's a little dude, but he's dope. Ben,
You
what
and
do you
I
have to
both
say?
picked him up.
We did.
Yeah, what
Ben,
about
what are your
Kyron,
thoughts?
Kyron Williams? That's the guy we didn't mention in this group.
J-Wack
What do you
likes
think
him.
about him? Yeah,
I like
do.
Kyron, man.
I think he could be a guy
Go
that's
ahead.
like splitting on a backfield. I love his receiving ability. I think he has good vision, and he's he makes the first guy miss consistently. So I don't know. I
I
don't
was
think
just
he's
about to say
elite.
that.
We're not talking about an elite guy, but I do like Kyron Williams a lot, and he's got to be pretty close to these other running backs we're mentioning for me.
Yeah, and he's got good size to him. I mean, I
Wait a
shouldn't say
minute.
good
No.
size. Hey,
No.
hey, hey. No, what I mean is he's a compact running back, like frame wise. Like you know how Blake Corum is built. He's not a little dude who's little. Like he's a little
Yeah.
dude with girth. Like so. Like Ben just said, he makes the first guy miss. He's able to catch the football. He runs hard, man. That dude runs hard. I like Kyron Williams.
You know
I
who
don't
he
know where I'd
reminds me
have
of?
him pegged right now.
You know who he reminds me of, man? And they got him listed at 5'9", 199, which means he's 5'7" and a half, 190. That's what that means. You know who
Chill
he
out.
reminds me of? You know who he reminds me of, honestly? Is Phillip Lindsay. Like, he reminds me of Phillip Lindsay. A tough running back with speed. And I know they're different type of players because I think Kyron's a little better in the receiving game. But we've seen this archetype of running back in the NFL and fantasy, man. Devin Singletary, 5'7", 200. They don't have confidence in him to be the guy. Like, Phillip Lindsay went back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons as a UDFA. I get it. And they went to replace him with Melvin Gordon. Then they got his ass out of there the very next year. In fantasy, would you spend a first-round pick on that archetype of a running back? And for me, the answer is no. I'd rather just bank on Charbonnet, Spiller, Hall, one of those bigger dudes. Like, I'm not spending a first-round pick on Kyron Williams, dude. Unless you think he's Austin Eckler.
It would depend on the draft capital and where he landed, but I think I heard myself coming through someone's speakers.
Yeah, that's
but
me. I fucked up. That's me.
Quit fucking up. I'm just
My
kidding.
bad.
No, I like Kyron. Like I just said, it's gonna end up where it's gonna depend where he ends up, draft capital and all that.
Yeah.
I like him right now. Got him in the top 5 backs in this class for me.
I got him 4. I got him at RB4. So I mean,
Okay.
I got him top
Hmm.
5 too. I have him top 5, and I hope one of my league mates take him. Like I'd be fine. Like if you
Yeah.
drafted Kyron Williams over me, I wouldn't bat an eye. I mean, I'm not trying to bury the lead here, but really, outside of a couple of wide receivers, I like Weidemeyer a lot. I think he's going to be a really good NFL tight end.
Hmm.
A couple of the quarterbacks, like I'll just pivot to 2023, bro. Like that's just
Hey,
I
one guy I will mention though that's coming up for me in the running backs is Jay Corbin from Florida State. He's 6 foot 220. He's one of those guys that could be a three down back at the next level. Um, and he's got good pedigree too. I mean, you guys remember?
who are you talking about? Corbin?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like him. I think he was a 4-star guy.
yeah.
I think he was a 4-star
So
dude.
had a really good week last week. Had another good week this week. I think that game's still going on. When I checked, he had a good game going. So just another guy that's climbing for me in this running back class that's really uncertain. So
What's
I wanted to
Algier
throw his
doing?
name in there.
What's Algier doing from BYU? Does anybody know? Ben, you watching him? Ben, you're all over it on Saturdays, man. If y'all aren't following Ben, dude, I don't know how you post so many clips immediately after they happen. I used to
Yo,
do
my
that.
my.
I used to do that, and then I just gave that life up. I'm just like, if I'm late, I'm late. You're the
Yeah.
first one. It's you and one of the Devi Watch guys are the first people to post stuff. I love it.
Yeah, man. I've tried to grind these Saturdays right now, so I'm definitely trying to make it happen. But yeah, Algier 8 carries already 21 yards, so nothing happening for him today. But they're up on Utah, so we'll see
People
how that
asking
game
about
goes
Zamir
halfway through the
White.
second.
J-Wack, that's your boy. That's our boy Garrett Price's guy, Zamir White, right?
Yeah, he likes Zamir. It was good to see him last year, and it's this year he had another offseason that he was healthy. So, no, I didn't last week. I don't remember how many carries he had. I don't think it was many. Um, I don't know how he did today, but from a prospect standpoint, he's just all right to me. He's kind of more of a straight line guy. Doesn't really have much wiggle to his game. Runs really strong. Um, I think he's gonna be a day 3 guy at the next level as of right now. You know, he could change my mind, but I know Garrett Price likes him a lot. Probably is gonna slap me for that take, but uh,
Somebody asked, "Do we think
I'm not in love with White.
do you think James Cook is an NFL player?"
No,
Mm-mm.
Mm. CJ
you?
Verdell. What about CJ Verdell?
Yes,
No, you do?
I do. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be a star or a starter or anything, but I think he's the guy that'll probably be a late round pick and then end up on a team. I mean, he's solid, right? There's a lot of solid running backs out there, and I don't know. I think he's good enough.
I think he's a backup.
Yeah,
I think he's a backup
Yeah,
running back, and not even
yeah.
like a high end backup. I think he's like literally like just a backup running back.
yeah. If you
Hmm.
play Devi C to C, I saw that question. Time to sell. I think it's a great time to sell after the game he had today.
Absolutely.
What about Keaton Slovis? Just a quick question. He's 8 for 12 right now, 80 yards. I like Slovis, man.
I like him.
I like Slovis. I think he's going to be an accurate quarterback. I mean, he's not going to give you anything on the ground, but he's got really good pocket mobility. I like Slovis.
I just tried to turn
Bounce it
that
back a
game
little
on.
bit.
The Mets and Yankees are on. That pisses me off.
You got to go to F. You
Uh,
went to Fox. You got to go to FS1.
okay.
Go to
But no,
FS1.
I like Slovis, man. Like you said, he is an accurate quarterback, and I love like you can't teach accuracy. You can't improve accuracy. You're either accurate or you're not. You can't teach accuracy. So I
Yeah,
like the way he moves in the pocket. I like how accurate he is with the football. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's mobile enough, like we say with Mac Jones. So he's another quarterback that could end up earning first round draft
I think he
capital in this
will. I think he
crazy
will. I
freaking quarterback
I
class,
think he
dude.
will. What about Brian Robinson, Ben? What do you think about Brian Robinson out of Bama?
Back up probably just a little bit better than CJ Verdell for me. I mean, he does some things well. I think he runs hard, he runs tough, good pass protector, but I don't know, nothing special to me. I just feel like he's on a good team, so
He's
he's able
Gus
to look a
Edwards.
little
In
better.
my opinion, he's
Yeah,
Gus Edwards.
yeah, gets the job done.
He surprised me last week.
Who?
He
Brian
looked
Robinson?
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Robinson
he's
looked good
it's his
last week.
6th year. He should look good. Like
That's
legitimately,
so
Like
true.
28.
this is his sixth
Yeah,
year. This is
it's
year
like
6.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Real quick before we, cause this, my wife is like, you said 30 minutes and it's past 30 minutes. We can't get out of here without talking about Anthony Richardson. All right, the dude
Bro.
had, the dude like had 3 passes and 2 carries and is like a quarterback 1 on the week.
Yeah.
It is. I have not watched enough Anthony Richardson. J-Wack, I know you have, and Ben, I know you're all. You two are probably. I don't know who likes Anthony Richardson more, but let's start with our guest of honor. Like to have J-Wack here. This is a true blessing. I know all of y'all listening. Y'all don't see the enthusiasm, but he's real happy to be here. Trust me. J-Wack, tell the people what you think
Dude,
about Anthony Richardson, man.
that's funny that you said that though, because my whole life, like my coaches and everyone always be like, "Why aren't you like excited?" Because I always just have this like, I'm not like happy or something face. I was just like pissed,
Yeah.
but I don't know how he's not their full-time starter at this point, man. Like every time he touches the ball, something good happens. And at the college football level, like he's able to run dudes over, throw them to the ground, make people miss. And when he throws the football, dude, it looks good. Like he's on target. He's got a cannon. Um, who what
He
who is
said,
that? Connick.
I make my wife sound like a goblin. She's watching this, y'all. Like I know she's watching. But
no,
is he good? Is
I
he
don't.
good though? Is he a legitimate quarterback prospect?
It's tough to say right now. I think he is, just from what he's put on tape so far. Hell yeah, he is. I mean, he hasn't done anything bad. I hope. I'm not sure. Ben, did you see what that injury was? Because he scored that
Yeah.
touchdown, and then he looked like he pulled a hammy or something. So I
Yeah, I
hope
didn't
he's
look
all
in the
right.
last hour, but yeah, it looked like a minor hamstring pull, which is really unfortunate because, I think for them to even have a shot at Alabama, he's got to be on the field for them. I mean, we saw what Emory was doing. Do I think they have a shot? No, but hey, I would damn sure love to see Anthony Richardson out there up against Alabama with what he's done with the few touches. So,
When do they
yeah, he
play?
pulled
Yeah.
up
When
lame
is
on
that
the
game?
80-yard touchdown.
Next week,
week,
3:30, I think.
Saturday.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
Well,
I
2:30 for
know.
you.
It might be tough to
I,
get him on the field.
I don't know what it is. So there has to be some reason why he's not the starter, right? Like there's been a very small sample size of him throwing the football, so maybe he's not. Maybe he's inconsistent in throwing the ball, but from what we've seen so far, he's been on target. He's got a good arm. Throws a nice catchable ball. So I haven't seen any indications that he's not a good passer of the ball. And we know he's a freaking good runner. I mean, what is he? 6'4", 240. He looks like he runs a 4.4. Just
Coming out of high school, verified 4.6, so he may be a 4.5 guy, man. I mean, that
yeah,
was high school. You know what I'm saying? And this is why C2C and Devi is so just interesting. I'm just looking. He was the number 9 ranked dual threat quarterback, and all these dudes ahead of him: Malik Hornsby, Chuba Purdy, Evan Prater, Haynes King, Luke Doty,
yeah.
Jaquitian Jackson, Hudson Card, and then Bryce Young. Like
There's like 4 of those guys that you even talk about right now.
barely talk about. Real
Yeah,
quick, Coastal Carolina. No one's sleeping on Grayson McCall.
Grayson McCall.
We all know Grayson McCall. I like him quite a bit.
Mhm.
The thing is draft capital with these dudes. I don't know if right now. I don't know. My boy Eugene Gene says he's Cam Newton. Anthony Richardson looked
yeah,
like Cam Newton.
it does.
He looks like Cam Newton. Texas got their asses handed to them by one of the worst teams, one of the poorer teams in the SEC. So welcome to the SEC, Texas. Anybody else y'all want to touch on real quick before I get y'all out of here? I told y'all to be a quick, just instant reaction show. It was a weak week. It was like a sorry week for college football. I mean, there weren't a lot of big matchups.
Quickly, if anybody didn't get a chance on Richardson, there's a play where he kind of rolled out to the left and was able to turn his body with the defender coming in on him and just chucked it down the field. Like perfect touch on and everything right along the sidelines. Just incredibly tough throw. Go check that one out. That's where I think he's going to be really interesting to see how much better he got as a passer this year. But
Did you tweet
yeah,
that?
moving. I'll make sure to retweet. I can find it real quick. Yeah.
One guy that is under the radar right now that has put together 2 solid weeks in a row is Dylan Wright, wide receiver from Minnesota. He's 6'3", 215, I think. Real long arms, but had a nice game versus Ohio State last week. Showed some good ball skills, and he had 3 catches for another and 60 yards and a touchdown or something today. So under the radar guy, pay
And
attention to him.
the other guy you keep telling me about, Drummond, right? DeMario,
Yes.
is he
That
legit?
kid, I mean, Corral's going off. Like, he's Elijah Moore in that offense this year. Like, he's catching everything. He looks good. He's 6', 220, I think, and he's real fluid with the ball in his hands. So he's a yak guy. Nice hands. He had that real nice catch last week on the sideline. It's like fingertip catch.
Yeah.
Dontario Drummond. And like the C2Cs and stuff I'm in, he was on waivers almost the league. So and nobody was really on him before the year.
Ben, Eddie said he still needs a Sam Heward take.
Yeah, Sam Heward needs to be on the field. Dylan Morris is such a capped quarterback. He's inaccurate to start the season. They had some tough wide receiver injuries right out of the gates, but you lose to FCS, you don't see the offense move against Michigan, and Heward has the ceiling. My guess is they didn't want to put him on the field going into against 100,000 strong at Michigan.
Real quick, Ray.
What's up?
What do you think about Deuce Vaughn?
I think he's going to be an NFL running back. I do.
Me too.
I think he's going to have a role in the NFL. I don't think he's not going to be a starter. He's not going to be a feature back, but I think Deuce Vaughn could be a viable PPR running back. Like, I'm talking about a weekly flex play. If you're asking me right now, this is the craziest thing. This is a great question. Do I have more faith in Kevin Harris or Zamir White or CJ Verdell or Deuce Vaughn? Give me Deuce Vaughn. Give me the running back that can just specialize in being a pass-catching weapon. I think Deuce Vaughn's going to get day 2 draft capital. I think he's going to be a round 3, round 4 NFL draft pick. He's going to make a team, and he's going to be a third down weapon who gets carries throughout the game, like by year 2. I think Deuce Vaughn's a player, man. I think he's going to be a good fantasy option in PPR formats.
He's another 2023 guy, right?
Yes, he's 2023.
So, yeah, man, I'm right there with you, dude. He's one of those guys that has some elite traits to him. Like, his quickness is off the freaking charts. There's nobody in the NCAA that moves like he does. It's just his size. That's his only con. It's his size. I love that kid. I think he's definitely going to be like a PPR producer in the NFL for fantasy teams. So I think if you play Devy and C2C, you should find a way to get him on your team. But it's going to be tough right now after these last 2 weeks.
What did he do today? Did he go off today?
Oh, yeah. I think he had like 3 touchdowns or something. Yeah.
I think he's going to be a player, man. I think I like Deuce Vaughn a lot, bro. And when you're that good out of the backfield, I think he's going to be good. People are saying that I messed up the title and I said it's week 1 recap. Maybe.
Whatever.
I don't
know what it is.
I mean, fuck, it's week 2. Anyways, Ben, real quick before I get out of here, y'all, seriously, I'm not just saying this. Jared and Ben are 2 people. There are very few people in the fantasy space that I trust when it comes to evaluations. Very few. You can call that arrogant, cocky, whatever you want, but I don't listen to a lot of people's stuff, man. But these 2, I truly value their opinion and I listen to it. So if you're not following JWack, at Jared Wackerly FF, that's WACKERLYFF on Twitter, and Ben Eby at the Ben Eby on Twitter. Elite Seekers and Dynasty Nerds. Make sure you're tapped into. The NFL season starts tomorrow. If you ain't rocking the nerds, and the stuff that they're doing, you're probably missing out. Be a member of the Nerd Herd. It's cheap. It's cheap to be a member, and you get a bunch of dope stuff. And stay tapped into Elite Seekers and Ben. If you miss any clips during Saturday, Ben probably has tweeted it out. So just go to his Twitter account. And again, y'all, we've got months to deep dive into numbers and analytics, and this is just instant reaction. What we saw, what we think. We're gonna do this every single week. I know Ben's gonna be here weekly. We'll try to get J-Wack on when he can. But I appreciate y'all taking 45 minutes out of your Saturday night to just talk ball, and I appreciate all the people on YouTube, on Periscope, who tap into us. Please follow these guys. And I'm going to go watch USC, and this is why I do not bet college spreads. J-Wack, I just do player props. USC is out here struggling with Stanford, and I got them pegged
You
to
didn't
win.
take
under
any spreads this week?
Nah, I'm staying away from all spread bets this season. All spreads. I'm just doing player props the entire season.
Why?
Over-unders or player
Why?
props. Why?
Yeah, why?
Because it's shit like this. Because I can't figure this out. That's why. Because USC was favored by 17.5, and they're down here losing by 7 right now to Stanford.
Just hit me up, man. I hit a parlay today, so I got you.
Well, good. Parlay J. I'm Parlay Ray. You're Parlay J. I got some bets tomorrow for the NFL side, but I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you guys for coming in, and have a good evening, y'all.